Do you want to speed up the process of both learning and understanding what you write and play? Learn theory. Learning music theory is an important part of exploring your instrument. I've had a bunch of students ask me how or why something was done the way that it's done and why it's appealing, that type of thing. All of it can be explained with some pretty basic music theory, and once you get these most basic layers that I'm going to teach you in this and the next video, you will understand how to use that to your advantage very, very quickly, very, very easily. Here's a couple of whys for learning music theory. Learning music theory allows you to communicate both simple and complex ideas to any other musician. Let's say you're in a rehearsal with a whole bunch of musicians that you've never met. You can very simply say to them, I want to play a 1-5-6-4 in G. And it doesn't matter who they are, if they know their basic theory, they will understand what to do. Okay? The bassist, the saxophonist, the pianist, the piccolist, everyone will know what they're supposed to do, and everyone will be able to perform with you right off the bat. Even the drummer, and they don't know any keys. But the thing is if you've got the power to communicate this, so you don't have to translate the intricacies and then the translations to their own instrument, you're going to be able to perform with anyone that you come across. It will also allow you to predict where melodies that you're writing or you're trying to learn are going. So for example, there are only 12 notes in standard Western harmony. That means that only so many combinations of notes make up pretty much every single song you know. If you understand the relationship between these notes, you know how to make pleasing sounds. And now, as someone who plays an instrument, you know how easy it is to make bad sounds. You learn some basic scales and you apply that to anything, you've got yourself a full understanding of what needs to be played. And as the saying goes, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. And amongst many other things, it will allow you to identify what many of your favorite artists are doing. You love that one melody that that artist does? Learn the relationship to the notes, apply it to your own composition. If you love that one chord progression, understand what part of that chord progression you like, take it out and put it in your own thing. And then mix and match it. Create something new and fantastic that the world's never heard, that you know that you love. Essentially, it all boils down to knowledge. The more you know about theory and its applications, the more powerful you will be when it comes to performance, composition, and understanding your instrument. Is it essential? Yes, unless you're some freak musician who learns this stuff all by ear, because the biggest difference between someone who just is a master and someone who studies it is the person who studies it knows how to communicate it. They didn't put any less time in, except the person who studies it and can communicate it can explain it to other people. The person who did it by themselves, they just know. Which one would you rather be? For me personally, I'd much rather be able to communicate it because it streamlines the process every single step of the way. For the rest of this video, we are going to go to some paper so I can show you some written examples, because I think the images of this is going to make it so much easier for you. All right, so here we have the musical alphabet. Now, this is pretty straightforward. We have A sharp or B flat, B, C sharp, D flat, D sharp, E flat, E, F sharp, G flat, G sharp, A flat. Now, don't get confused. All of these sharps and flats are exactly the same note. A sharp is exactly the same as B flat. C sharp is exactly the same as D flat, etc. Okay, these notes are all identical. There is just a different naming system for them in different contexts. Effectively, a sharp means one semitone higher, a flat means one semitone lower. So if you sharpen an A, it becomes an A sharp. If you flatten a B, it becomes a B flat, right? Now this is the same note. If we're to look at this on a guitar, this is the open string on the A string. First fret, second fret, okay, etc. All the way up till the 11th fret, which is, and sorry about my awful handwriting, up to the 11th fret, which is the A flat or the G sharp. So flats and sharps are determined either by key or motion. Now what I mean by that, key, let's say we're in the key of G major. I'm just going to write that out for you. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then we're back to G. Okay, that is all the notes in G major. F sharp, I'm not going to explain why F sharp is an F sharp, but this is the only key with one sharp in it. If we were to flatten this G, it would become G, A, B, C, D, E, G flat, G. God damn, my handwriting is terrible. You can see if we've got this key here that has a G flat and a G, but no F, it is a lot more confusing to both read and communicate as opposed to putting a sharp in here. Now, alternatively, if we've got F major, which is the key with one flat in it, we've got F, G, A, B flat. That's a flat, okay? C, D, E, and then back to F. Once again, if we write that out as an A sharp, F, G, A sharp, C, D, E, F. Way more confusing with two A's in it and no B as opposed to A, B flat and an A. Okay, this is why we have this. If we're looking at motion, say we've got a tab on the A string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our A string goes 0, 1, 2, right? We would communicate this to all of our band players as A sharp, B. We would not say it's A, B flat, B, because going from A to B flat to B implies that we're going A to B and then back to B flat and then to B. Whereas we go A, we know we just take it up one semitone and then we know we go to B next, right? This is confusing. This makes sense to communicate, okay? Equally, if we're going down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, 0, we would say B flat, A. We would not say B, A sharp, A. Once again, this is implying we're going down, kind of down back and then down, as opposed to down just a little bit and then down all the way, okay? Once again, this is just about communication, okay? These are the contexts in which we use sharps and flats. That is effectively all that there is to know about the musical alphabet. Why there's no gap between B and C and E and F, I don't know. It just has been that way for hundreds of years. It's what they decided way back when, and now we're stuck with it, so we just got to learn it. Fortunately for us, it's not that hard. Let's look at scales. First scale is going to be A minor. Why? Because there's no sharps or flats. And it's very easy to write out. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Great. That is the entire A minor scale. If we want to look at scale degrees, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? This is going to become a lot more important in the next video. Just understand that whatever key you're in, the first note of that key is 1, and every one after it has the same number. It is not complicated. This is just yet another different way to communicate it, but more important in the next video. A minor sounds like this. From this scale, we can build an entire song. In fact, from some version of this scale, most songs you've ever heard exist. So now we're going to look at the relative major for A minor. Okay, it's C major. I'm going to write it out and then I'm going to get you to guess why. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay, now what is similar about this that exists in the A minor scale? The answer, for those who don't know, is that there are no sharps and flats in this either. So if we look at it, it is exactly the same scale starting from a different point. This is really important because this means that you can use chords from any of these two scales and they will work in either of those scales. So if you learn either a minor or a major scale, and whatever key you're in, you understand how far away the relative minor or major scale is, then you know what you can play within your bounds. If you learn both, it's more powerful, of course, because having both, you can use either. And so I do just want to take a moment to point out a couple of similarities that exist within these. So if this is the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh scale degree of C major, right? Once again, this is far more important in the next video, but it is important to take note here. If this is how the progression goes, you know that C major, or any major key, if you go to the sixth scale degree in that key, that is the start of the relative minor. Now let's write out the minor. So A, oh, that's a terrible A. Okay, once again, just so people know, if there is any confusion about scale degrees, it doesn't matter what scale you're in. The first note is always 1. The second note is always 2, all the way up until the seventh note, and then it repeats. If you want the relative major for any key you're in, you go first, second, third, okay? So you go from either the sixth in the major to find the minor, or the third in the minor to find the major. Ignore my little boo-boo here. I got excited. There is one thing that I want to point out before I continue on and give an example in another key. These are the scale degrees, yes. How they compare to the musical alphabet. So let's just write that out for a second. We know that this key does not have any sharps or flats. And so even though this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes, that's a 12. Even though we know that that is 12 separate notes, if we're using a key that does not have any sharps or flats, we can immediately take all those sharps and flats out. Right? So of our scale, that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what do you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's the related scale degrees now. Okay, so this is two different things. One, we're talking about the musical alphabet. Right? The musical alphabet just outlines every single thing that exists in music. A scale is a thing that breaks it up and has a harmonious sound to it. If we use any notes in the musical alphabet without care for the key, we are going to sound atonal. Some people love atonal. I can't handle it. It just sounds like people are playing literally whatever they want to play without care for what else anyone is playing. It just, to me, doesn't work, doesn't make sense. With that distinction made, I'm going to give these examples of the major and minor in another key. So let's just go E major. Okay, so this is all the notes in the E major scale. It sounds like this. Now we put our numbers to them. What we're trying to find is the relative minor. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We know that if we want to get the relative minor, we start on the sixth note. So with that in mind, the relative minor for E major is going to be C sharp minor. C sharp minor. C sharp minor sounds like this. To me, that sounds like a minor key. All right, that's it. I created this video because there was a bunch of students asking very, very similar questions, and these are concepts that are very easy to communicate, but not necessarily in a one-on-one lesson without us being face-to-face. I do have this in writing, so there is a cheat sheet that kind of boils down everything that I've discussed here, so you can use this as the main learning tool and then use that for reference in the future. The next video that I'm doing has expansions on this topic, and the next video is probably more important than this one because it's far more practical. Okay, it actually allows you to digest chords and how they work together and all these other things, but it is so very difficult to understand that if you do not understand this. So that's why this video is first, and it is the absolute fundamentals. So I will see you next week. Like, comment, subscribe, please. I've been pulling my hair out about trying to communicate this effectively to you. So the more of that I get back, the more incentive I have to keep doing these things in very clear, very concise ways. So I hope that helped, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.